Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we are breaking down the games that have been released for the PlayStation Plus catalog.
So, PlayStation has just given us a list of games. This is not a complete list, but it is kind of a teaser list. So maybe it's like the best of the list.
They're trying to scare all those Game Pass subscribers.
Right. So these are a selection of games that will be available in this new PlayStation Plus tiered thing that they have. So I thought we could go ahead and break down and kind of go through the games that we're excited about. And then maybe at the end, we can talk about whether or not which one we think is worth it. If any of it's worth it, we'll do all that at the end.
Maybe even talk about some games we're not excited about.
Maybe.
Who knows?
So the first tier, the lowest tier on this PlayStation Plus totem pole is the Essential tier. And it is exactly like the PlayStation Plus that we've used for years and years.
Yeah, just like the PlayStation Plus, we know and tolerate.
Yeah. And basically the only benefit is that you can play online and you get a selection of monthly games for free. Usually it's like 3 games.
Yeah.
And
if you've already got this, you're getting grandfathered in.
Yes.
Yeah. You've already had PlayStation Plus.
Now you're going to have PlayStation Plus Essential.
Yep.
And nothing will change. They've made that very clear. It's just the exact same thing. But then beyond that, we have a new tier, a new thing. And this is the Extra, right?
This is where it gets interesting.
So the Extra tier comes with a catalog of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games.
This is where it first starts to get a little Game Passy.
Yes. So one of the things I think before we even get into the games that we're excited about, we just know that none of these games are day one releases. They're not going to have day one releases as part of this. These are all games that have been released. Some of them are fairly new, but many of them are fairly old as well. But they are from the PS4 and PS5 generations. So this is a fairly lengthy list, and this is apparently not the entire list, but it's a pretty long list. So we're not going to go through all the games, but I do want to talk about some of the games. So like the first game that stood out to me is Death Stranding and Death Stranding Director's Cut, which I think. So Death Stranding is the PS4 version. The Director's Cut is only for PS5.
Right.
So I think that's why there's both. I'm playing this one right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm playing the Director's Cut for the PS5. So I at first I was like, why are they having both Death Stranding and Death Stranding Director's Cut? But then I remembered Director's Cut is only PS5.
Right. Yeah. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Death Stranding, this is the world's premier walking simulator. Famous and infamous all at the same time.
I have more to say about this. I'm not going to get into it now, but and the last segment of our podcast is about games we're playing right now.
Yeah.
And I have some things to say about Death Stranding because
cool.
I am very deep into it right now.
Very nice. So next up, it looks like we've got Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
Yes.
And that's PS4 and PS5, so you can play that either way.
Yeah.
And that's a game we both really like.
Yes. You didn't play the Director's Cut, did you?
I did not play the Director's Cut. No.
I think
Have you done the DLC?
No.
Okay,
See, and I think that's a big part of the Director's Cut is the DLC. I just
Yeah.
played the main game, so I'm not even sure I really got my money's worth by purchasing the Director's Cut.
Yeah.
But
I intend on doing it one day. I just don't know when. I love that game.
oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like the best open world game I've ever played, but I thought it was really good. I think I got a lot of heat for not being that good, and I don't understand why. I think a lot of people just thought, oh, it's the same old, open world games that we've been getting forever, but I don't really agree with that.
No, I thought it was really well done. It was really cinematic, and it made me feel really cool.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah. God of War is on this list. Now, God of War is certainly one of my favorite games, if not... No, it's not my favorite game from the PS4 generation, but it's up there.
Yeah, same here. It is, I guess it would be my second favorite.
I'm assuming that your favorite from the PS4 generation would be Last of Us Part 2?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Same here.
No doubt.
We're on the same page about that. But God of War is way up there.
Yes.
Yeah, way up there.
Yeah, I'm very, very eagerly anticipating.
So if you haven't played God of War and you want to, this is a great chance to do it.
And you want to.
Yeah, it's really, really good, guys. So next is Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought was, that's another great game. And
big deal. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah. So I thought that was cool that it's on the list. And then we have, both the Marvel Spider-Man games, and Miles Morales is that's a fairly new game that came out last holiday. So that's not even a year old, and it's on the list as well. So that's neat.
Yeah, if you've got your PS5 and you're looking to
there's PS4 and PS5 for Miles Morales.
Yeah, I know, but I was just going to say if you've got your PS5 and you're looking to really flex some ray tracing, I know people were saying this game looked amazing.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
Didn't let me finish my point there, man.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said. I know that I was under the impression I thought Miles Morales was going to be a PS5 exclusive, and it just isn't. It wasn't, and it isn't.
Another game we wanted to highlight is Shadow of the Colossus. Now, is this the remaster?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because it's PS4. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Shadow of the Colossus is a game I remember some friends when we were kids loving, and I watched people play it. I never actually played it, but I watched people play it. And I know that's one of those big games. So
yeah, I actually I have tried to reduce how many games I'm purchasing right now, but I do have a small list of games that I want to purchase. It's only like 2 or 3 games, but Shadow of the Colossus is on that list. I do really want to play that game. I've heard some mixed things about the remaster, and I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but I don't know. I know that a lot of people love the PS2 version, but I'm sure the remaster is good. I can't remember where I've heard it, but I feel like there was some mixed thoughts about the remaster.
I think Frankie might have played the remaster when he was still living with me. So I've seen a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
But the one I really remember watching was the PS2 version. Right. And it was cool. I remember it kind of blew my mind how big it was because at the time, games just didn't seem that massive.
Right. So now we have The Last of Us, the remaster version, and The Last of Us Left Behind, which Left Behind is the DLC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which it's a great DLC.
Oh, yeah. It's super, super cool.
Yeah.
I love that DLC.
Weirdly enough, Last of Us Part 2 isn't on this list.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
And I think that's a little strange because I really, like, so many other, like, this is, by the way, this list that we're going through right now, these are PlayStation games, which means they are, like, part of the PlayStation studios, They're ones that have been published by PlayStation. And I think it's a little weird that Last of Us Part 2 is not on there.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Because I feel like if it was going to be there, I think it would be on this list. I don't think they'd be saving that game. I think they would be trying to, like, pump up the service with it.
Right. Even though, I mean, I know that game caught some heat from some idiots, but, yeah, I don't know why they would be withholding that one.
I really don't know. I really don't know. I feel like it should be there. But
yeah.
I don't know. So there's also things like the Until Dawn and Uncharted games, like all that's on there, which is cool.
Yeah.
I think that this list is actually a really great list of games. These PlayStation games that are going to be on this PS4 and PS5 catalog. I think that it's already good as is, but then there are also some third-party games. And part of this extra tier is that you get access to Ubisoft Plus classics, which I don't know if that I know Ubisoft has their subscription services, and I know this is part of it.
Yeah.
But so many of these games are some of the big Ubisoft games.
Yeah, I don't know where the classics part comes in because, like,
I don't know either.
The only Assassin's Creed game I see on here is the newest one. Right. So that freaks me out. Like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Some of those Assassin's Creed games are definitely classics.
I think that. I don't know. I think I would have to know more about the Ubisoft Plus subscription program, which I don't. But I do know that if you are at the extra or premium tier of the PlayStation Plus, you get access to this Ubisoft Plus. I kind of think in a similar way that you get access to EA Play with Game Pass. I mean, it's a similar sort of deal.
Well, the first game I highlighted here was Celeste.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't played Celeste, you just need to. It's like the best platformer I've ever played.
I have not played it.
It is super hard, and it has a great story, which is weird for a platformer to begin with. And the art style is very endearing, and I just can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, like in my Switch library, I'm tempted to click on it. It's one of those.
It's that tempting. And you got Dead Cells on here too, which is another one you highlighted.
Dead Cells is another great indie game that I played a couple years ago, and it's just a procedurally generated roguelike type deal. So if you like roguelikes and things like that, you might want to try Dead Cells. It's very fun. And then I also highlighted Hollow Knight because that's regarded as one of the best Metroidvanias ever.
You haven't played it though, have you?
I played it. Probably played 20 hours of it. But
you did play it.
But that's not playing Hollow Knight.
Oh, okay.
Hollow Knight's massive. Mm-hmm. So, Frankie loves Hollow Knight, and I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Now, I highlighted Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy because I thought it was interesting that it's on this list because it has recently gone to Game Pass. Mm-hmm. It's one of the more recent additions to Game Pass, which I thought was...
And it's also pretty new.
It's also a fairly new game. It came out last year. So, I thought that was kind of cool that it's also going to be on both. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's here because I don't think it sold very well. I think that it got kind of associated with the Marvel's Avengers game, mm-hmm. which really apparently was not a great game.
Yeah.
But Guardians of the Galaxy is a really good game, and we spent the whole podcast last week basically talking about this game.
Yeah, super fun.
And I don't know. I just thought it was cool that it's going to be on here and interesting.
Yeah. I also highlighted Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. It's super nerdy, but if you're into these Naruto fighting games, Ninja Storm 4 is supposed to be great. I've only played up to Ninja Storm 3.
Oh, gosh.
But Ninja Storm 4 apparently has a massive roster and all that. So if you're into that, play it.
Give it a go. Red Dead Redemption 2 will be on here.
That's a big deal.
Oddly, Red Dead Redemption is a PlayStation 3 game.
Right.
And because it's a PlayStation 3 game, it's not going to be on this list. Mm-hmm. Because this is PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is on this list. And we'll get to Red Dead Redemption 1 here in a little bit.
Yes.
Teaser for the other tiers. But additionally, I thought it was a little weird. Resident Evil is on here.
Just OG Resident Evil?
Well, I think it's the remaster.
It's got to be.
It's got to be the remaster. And the remaster was actually originally a GameCube game. Mm-hmm. And then it was brought to PS4. Mm-hmm. And I played the original Resident Evil on PS4. And I just think I just thought it was an interesting game to have on this list because it's... It just doesn't quite fit in with a lot of the other games on this because it's really an old game.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't bring, Village was PS4, right?
Yes, but I really don't think they're going to put... No, yes, Village was PS4 and PS5.
And the one before, I don't remember what
Resident
number.
Evil 7.
7, yeah.
7, yeah. I think that Resident Evil, this one is just it's strange. It's such an old game. Mm-hmm. None of the other, like Resident Evil 2 remake, 3 remake, none of those were there, just the original one, mm-hmm. which is an old game now. So yeah. I just thought it was a little strange that it's on here, but still, I know a lot of people like that game. I wasn't honestly a huge fan of it. I like the more modern Resident Evil games much better.
Mm-hmm. And then another one that I didn't highlight, but I do want to mention is that if you're into these South Park games, The Fractured But Whole is here. And that game, every time I hear anyone talk about it, they say that game is hilarious. Yeah, and surprisingly good.
That's on like everything. I feel like it's even on Switch.
Yeah.
So that is the games that are on the extra tier, and I really do think that I know this isn't even a full list, but I think these are some really great games, and I think if you just have a PS4 but you don't have a whole lot of games and you want a really good selection of games, both. Obviously, a ton of those, like PlayStation original or their published games are on here, but then also some really great third-party games too. I think this is a really good selection of games.
Yeah, I agree. Want to move on to?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
no.
cut you off.
We can go. We can move on to the premium.
Yeah.
Hit us up with what's in the premium tier, Daniel.
So premium is where it looks like they're going to add some PS1 and PSP games, as well as remasters, streaming some PS3 games, which I think is kind of just bringing in the PS Now that we've had. And then some time-limited game trials, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But the first game we have highlighted here is Ape Escape.
Ape Escape. Oh.
A classic.
Ape Escape, guys. I know Daniel really wanted to throw the Ape Escape in there. But
it's the way it's supposed to be pronounced.
Apparently, yeah.
Look it up, buddy.
So, Ape Escape is, I hear so many people talk about that game. Mm-hmm. I never played it.
Me neither.
But it's one of those games that, like, when you talk about the PlayStation 1, it seems to come up over and over and over. So it's one that I've got to play eventually.
Yeah, I really want to play it. We were talking about it before the podcast started, but, I off my original copy of Ape Escape, I, of course, ripped the ROM, so...
off your original copy, sure.
So I do have the ROM ready to go. I just haven't played it.
Off your sealed original copy of
Yes.
Ape Escape.
That is awesome.
But now the list of games they gave us for PlayStation 1 and PSP, it's a very short list.
Yes, it is.
And there's not a whole lot there that makes me super excited.
No. There's no God of War games here. No Ghost of Sparta. No Chains of Olympus.
It's weird.
None of that.
It's just super short. And maybe this is just a tiny little thing, but I figured that they would have put like their big hitters on here. And I mean, like...
For me personally, like, them putting PSP games on here was one of the most interesting aspects of it.
And there's just hardly anything here.
Yeah, this is a big letdown.
Yeah, it's just, there's not much. And maybe there's going to be a lot more later, because I know that they said, like, the whole service, if you get premium, like, everything is supposed to be like 700 games, in which we're not even close to this.
So, here's a question. All these games that we have listed here, they all say original PlayStation next to them, except for Super Stardust Portable. Does that mean that of the list they gave us, they only released the name of one PSP game? And it's Super Stardust Portable?
Apparently, man. I don't know what to say. I really don't. I have no... I'm just showing you the list that they gave us.
Or do you think that, like, Tekken 2 for the original PlayStation also has a PSP port? And it's
No. This is...
Well, Sony, this is weird.
It would say both. And I think this is a situation like GameFly having Game Boy Advance games. They only have one, All they got is...
No, it's not, because these are digital.
Fievel's, Fievel Goes West,
That is so awesome.
Actually, there was they come in stock. So I've seen more since then.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
But then there's also the next part of this premium tier is you get remasters. Mm-hmm. And these are games, best I could tell, these are games that have already been remastered and released on PS4, but they're including them as part of this. Ape Escape 2.
Very nice.
Is going to be on here. But, I looked and that game is $4.99 on the PlayStation Store right now. So, it doesn't seem like it's a reason to buy the premium tier.
No.
And then there are other games, but nothing... There's some Jack games, which are Naughty Dog games. I haven't played. I think I played a little bit of the first Jack, Jack and Daxter. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's been so long. But yeah, even the remasters, the PlayStation original remasters, none of these really excite me that much. There are some third-party games on here, and I think that the games on the third party are better, like BioShock, Borderlands, and stuff like that. But here's the thing. BioShock and Borderlands, all the collections and stuff, I see them all the time in stores for like dirt cheap.
Yeah,
they're like $10 for the whole collection.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not going to sell me on this service because I know these games are cheap games.
Right, and they're good games.
They're good games, but they're cheap games.
Not a reason to buy this.
No.
Same thing with Lego Harry Potter.
Lego Harry Potter, you see it everywhere for super cheap, and it's been like the whole collection of Lego Harry Potter games are just like everywhere. Mm-hmm. So this is a big letdown to me because I think that, and besides a few games that are on this remasters list, there's no they didn't list any just like regular old PS2 games. They have some PS2 games here that have been remastered and re-released on PS4, but no just like there are PlayStation 1 games on here that are going to be played like PS1 and PSP games, right? Mm-hmm. But no PS2 games.
Yeah, that's a big letdown for me because I know I mentioned wanting to play the old Ratchet and Clank games, for PS2.
Right.
And I knew that there were a few on PlayStation Now that came out on PS3, and, maybe one day I will play those, but they're not really the ones that everyone says are amazing.
You want to play the PS2 ones, right?
Yeah. So, that was a big letdown for me.
Now, speaking of PS3, the next part of this premium tier is that you get access to PS3 games via streaming only.
Right.
Which there was a lot of rumors that maybe they would figure out a way to emulate them natively on the PS5, but or PS4. I don't know. I think everyone was saying PS5, but... Anyway, it's not happening. It's just going to be via streaming, which we've seen already for years and years and years on PlayStation Now.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of games on this list. I think there will be many games on this list of PlayStation 3 games eventually.
Yeah, because they'll probably give you the whole PlayStation Now backlog.
But I have to say, the list is, to me, it's not a great list.
No. Yeah, you've got those three Ratchet and Clank games I already mentioned, but that's...
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's just not much here to make me be like, yeah, that's the reason I haven't gotten a PlayStation Now for the same reason. Was because the list just never excited me.
Yeah, it's not really, it doesn't really get me going.
And that goes for, I mean, now in the third-party games, there is Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. There's no Red Dead Redemption. It's just the DLC Undead Nightmare.
Does that mean you can only play the Undead Nightmare, or does that mean you have Red Dead Redemption plus Undead Nightmare?
No, I think it's only Undead Nightmare because
Why?
I have a physical version of just Undead Nightmare.
Yeah, I remember,
just that part.
I remember when they sold that.
And I think that's exactly what this is.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. It's weird.
Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
I just, like, this list of PS3 games, if this is the best that they're going to have on this list,
they're in trouble. Devil May Cry HD Collection. I know people like Devil May Cry, I guess. They've probably already played that.
I just don't, like, it's looking like just the same problem that they had with PlayStation Now, where they're going with, I'm assuming, quantity over quality. It seems like all the really good games are in that extra tier. Now, but another thing that I think is interesting, the next part of this premium tier is that there are game trials.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen this with Nintendo's been doing this a little bit with their service, with their expansion pack service.
Yeah.
You get occasional game trials. Now here they've kind of listed.
Does this just mean, is this basically demos, or does this mean you can play the game for a limited time?
This is like, I think it's a limited amount of time. Like you maybe have like a few hours to try the game or something. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't remember how long it said.
Because I know they said there's going to be no day one releases, but if they, moved on that a little and gave you like a 2-week window to play Forbidden West, I don't know.
I think that's way too long if they're not wanting to have day one, because that's the same thing as doing a day one release. If you give 2 weeks to play a day one release,
well, you could play it.
You can play it. Yeah, you could actually play it. I think this is going to be, I don't remember what it said, but I think it's going to be a couple hours, I'm guessing. But the things they have is Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, which is the newest Uncharted collection. And then there's Horizon Forbidden West. Those are games, from PlayStation. So those are fairly new.
Yeah.
But they're offering them as game trials. And then from third parties, they have Cyberpunk, Farming Simulator 22, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and 2K20, WWE 2K22.
Dude, those are some bangers. I mean, except for Cyberpunk, that third-party list is a bunch of bangers. Farming Simulator 22.
Dude, I tried to play one of the farming simulators. That was not my cup of tea.
Do you know how much corn you could grow in Farming Simulator 22?
In a couple hours?
Psh, enough to feed an entire redneck army.
So I think that this game trial thing is cool.
Yeah, sure.
But, I mean, I don't know. It's just, this to me is just like one extra thing to maybe try to entice you to go to that premium tier.
Will they let you carry your save over?
I'm sure.
Surely they will.
I'm sure. So I think one thing about this premium tier is, to me, and you mentioned this a minute ago, this is just a repackaging of PlayStation Now.
Yep, that's all it is.
It's just like the premium tier. Now, the extra tier, which premium tier does have, it's premium's going to have the PlayStation 4 and 5 collection of games.
Right.
Is maybe a little bit more than what PlayStation Now had. But even PlayStation Now had a decent selection of PS4 games. It's just those PS5 games that are being added in. So it is a little bit of an expansion of PS Now, but it's basically just a rebranding, saying, trying to, because I think a lot of people had PS Now in their head as only streaming, because I think it was that to begin with.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think they're just trying to change people's mind about what they're offering, because they want to compete with Game Pass.
Right.
But do you think this list, including the PS4 and PS5 games and all this other stuff, is this something that you can compete with Game Pass?
Well, I mean, like we said, the extra tier with the PS4 and 5 games is probably the best tier, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, we'll break down prices here in a minute and talk about what it's worth. Cause
that was going to be the angle I was taking. But I mean,
because you do get that last tier does have a lot of stuff, and when you talk about how much extra you're adding per month, it's really not very much if you buy in a year.
Yeah, but price, not considering price.
Not considering price, is this something? This whole service, say, does any of it compete with Game Pass?
I mean, maybe. I mean, it has those PlayStation games that you can't get on Game Pass, and those are awesome games.
Yeah.
You know, you can't play God of War or Ghost of Tsushima or Spider-Man or any of that on Game Pass. So if you're really into that, you know, if you're a PlayStation guy, you don't have an Xbox, and you've been wanting a service like Game Pass, sure. If you're in a position like us where we have all the consoles and you know you already canceled your Game Pass, I still have mine. I may go your way actually and go the GameFly route, but I don't think I'm gonna do it personally. But
I think that if you are like you just said, if you only have a PlayStation, PS4, PS5, and you want something like Game Pass, I think this is really good. If you have everything and you have to choose between this and Game Pass, I do think that this could. I would have a hard time choosing between them. I don't think
it just depends on what you like more.
Yeah, I think it depends on what what kind of games you're going for. Because although Game Pass does have day one Microsoft releases, there's not that many games that are being released by Microsoft right now.
Yeah.
In the future, I think give it a year or so. When in 2023 there may be a whole lot of Microsoft games coming out.
Yeah, Starfield and
Yeah,
that other Bethesda game.
well, Starfield got pushed to 2023. It was going to be, yeah. That other Bethesda game.
What is that thing called? The one it's about the vampires, right?
I don't know. You've confused me with your description. The one about vampires.
Yeah. Redfall.
Oh, Redfall. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't really know much about Redfall. I've heard the name, and I know it's a game.
I just remember when they revealed it at the whatever that thing. I don't know if it
whatever
was,
that thing was.
I don't remember which presentation it was.
So we yeah, but I was saying a second ago that if I think I would have a hard time choosing between these, and the reason is the price. Okay, so the price of these, the essential tier is basically the same price and we've had for PlayStation Plus, which is $9.99 monthly, or if you buy it as a year, it's $60, which is $5 a month. So you can get it half price if you buy a year, which we're going to see that be a trend here pretty much. The extra is $15 a month, or if you buy it yearly, it comes to $8.33 a month, which so far that is cheaper than Game Pass Console, which is $10 a month. And I think that it's very similar in scope. And then the premium tier is $18 a month or $17.99 a month monthly, or about $10 a month if you buy it yearly. Which I think for $10 a month, we're really looking at something that is $5 cheaper than, it's the same price as Game Pass Console, $5 cheaper than Game Pass Ultimate, which this does include things that can be played on PC, by the way. So I think that for the price, I would have a hard time choosing between Game Pass and this PlayStation Plus, thing. And I think if you're on a budget, I think these are great options. If you can't afford $60, $70 new game releases and you want a bunch of games to play, this is a great way to play a game on a budget, either way.
Now, one thing I'm noticing throughout this list is that there's not a lot of really awesome, well-known multiplayer games.
No, and I think that's PlayStation's way, isn't it? They're very focused on these single player experiences. And that's just I think that is one of the reasons that PlayStation has developed the reputation it has. I mean, people who are really into single player experiences typically go the PlayStation route. And those who are really interested in multiplayer experiences typically go the Xbox or Microsoft route,
Because to me, that's something cool about Game Pass is you get so many of those great multiplayer games that you can play forever, which is maybe how they get you, because you're just playing the same game over and over.
Which is one of the reasons I don't do it anymore, is because of that exact reason.
Because of, Sea of Thieves, you got your Gears of War, you've got Halo.
Yeah, all those things. And I think that is, for me, having a really good selection of single player games makes this more valuable, personally.
Yeah.
But now that we know the prices, we did a poll, and it was, which of the new PlayStation Plus tiers is the best value? And personally, I think that I'm kind of torn because, okay, we can pretty much, to me, Essential shouldn't even be a question because it's the same exact thing, the same exact price of PlayStation Plus we've seen forever. So really, I think that Extra and Premium should be on the table of what games or which one of these tiers is the best value.
Yeah.
Which one do you think is the best value?
I mean, I want premium because I want it to be a good value, I'm saying, because I want to play a bunch of cool PSP games.
Right.
But they're not showing me that here. So I can't see a lot, honestly, in premium that makes it worth me shelling out for. Your mileage may vary. But for me, I guess I would just say go with Essential. You can play online. You get access to quite a few great games.
No, the Essential, you mean the extra.
I do mean the extra. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
You mean extra.
I do mean extra. So how much is extra? 15. Okay.
Extra is 15 a month or $8.33 if you pay monthly. Which to me, the only reason I would ever do the monthly price instead of the yearly price. I'm sorry, I meant yearly a second ago. I would only purchase these the yearly. I think that it's such you basically get it for half price almost. Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And unless you just absolutely cannot afford the yearly price, I think that makes it so much better of a deal. I would do everything I could to afford the yearly price. To me, the monthly prices are just not worth it. I think that it just they start to go out of the price where I feel comfortable for what you're getting.
I agree. So I guess I would have to say extra.
You would have to say extra.
Yeah.
See, my thought is I think extra is where the majority of the value lies. But for just the $2 or $1.70 extra a month, I think it's worth going premium. And I think that's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
Because you're going from $8.33 a month to $10 a month. And I think for that, $1.66 or whatever it is, I think that it's worth moving to this up to premium.
And you're just kind of hoping that eventually they make it worth the crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you get those you would get those game trials, you get the classic games, you get the PS3 games. Like your number of games is going to go up exponentially. How much you have access to. Hopefully, and so I think for that extra dollar and some change, I think it's definitely worth doing the premium. Although I think the bulk of the value lies in extra.
Yeah. Now, also, I'm not sure that we can honestly say your library of games would go up exponentially.
Wouldn't be exponentially, no.
I don't know that it would be linear.
The math is definitely wrong about that. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, though. There'd be so many more games. But let's see what our poll takers thought about this.
Yeah, poll takers.
Our poll takers. We had 29% of people say essential, which really boggled my mind because I'm thinking, like, that's the best value? All you get just play online, you get a couple free games per month, which isn't. Some of those games are good. PlayStation usually does a pretty good job of what games they give you each month.
Yeah.
So maybe it is the best value. Maybe they're saying, look, the extra and premium just isn't worth it, period.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Almost 30% of people, basically. You want to hit us with the next one?
Sure. 24% said extra. And looks like almost half at 47% said premium.
So I think if I was polled on this, I think I would have to go premium, but just on a technicality. I think the bulk of the value is an extra. I really do.
I agree.
And I would be torn on which one to pick there. Daniel, you okay, man? You've been coughing so much.
Dude, I've been fighting allergies all week.
Well, you're losing the fight, man.
No, I'm not. I'm on the upswing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So we had some comments on this. I still don't know how to pronounce this person's name.
Jeeves.
Jeeves? Is it just Jeeves? I don't know. Let us know in a comment how to pronounce your name, please.
Yeah, phonetic spelling, please.
Phonetic spelling. So it says, as a retro gamer and lover of the PS3, I've got to go with the premium. Really excited about that Ubisoft Plus Classic as well as the enhancements to certain retro titles. Hopefully they add trophy support as well. And it has been announced since you wrote this comment that yes, there will be trophy support on games. I don't know if it's all games, but there will be trophy support on classic and retro games.
So all you trophy/achievement hunters can be happy.
I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Determined Torres said if you're a huge fan and you're also new to PlayStation while having enough money, get the premium tier. If you're on a tight budget, an essential tier can work.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're new to PlayStation, you want a whole bunch of games, that's where I think that premium tier or even just the extra tier really would be a great value. Obviously, everyone's budget is different, but I really do think that these subscription services can be a really great budget option. If you rely on them as your sole way to get games, I think they can be a really great budget option to play a lot of games. Now, obviously, you're limited to what games they offer you.
Yeah.
You can't just pick and choose any game. but still.
Like you can with GameFly.
Well, I mean, like.
Not a sponsor.
Just saying. But yeah, I agree with you. And then we had one final comment from Night Owl Games.
Night Owl Games.
Night Owl Games. Who says, I buy the year pass from CD Keys for £40, and it works out much cheaper than the £10 a month. And now I think this is referring to the current PlayStation Plus, like the way it is now, because it's $10 in US. I think it is £10 over across the pond. Yeah. But this is a great thing that I wanted to bring up, because I assume that this is something that we'll still be able to do, which is to buy from other places like wholesalers or online things. And you can sometimes find these, like, they're kind of like gift cards or whatever, and you get it for much cheaper. Like, I've bought my PlayStation Plus, and when I was using Game Pass, I always bought it from Costco.
Yeah.
And I always got it for much cheaper than what even the yearly, I'd buy like a yearly thing, and instead of it being, the $60, or say it was a Game Pass for 6 months, was a Game Pass Ultimate would have been, I don't know, $60 maybe for a year for the yearly price, or a happy year, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like $10-15 cheaper than that. It was significantly cheaper. So I always did a similar thing, and you can buy them from online websites, like even Amazon and stuff will sometimes have it for much cheaper. So it's worth looking into.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, moving on from these PlayStation things, what games have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been...
Have you been playing games this week?
Not really.
Really?
I mean, I've been trying, but so for those of you that don't know, I'm a school teacher, and this was our second to last week of the year. So it has been crazy. I didn't even get to stream Sea of Thieves on Thursday.
No, you didn't.
Because I was DJing a middle school dance. And I'm telling you what, it was a banger. But, I've played a couple games of Smash.
You just had a game this week.
I played Sea of Thieves on Tuesday. And last Sunday. So, I mean, I have just not had time to play games. But
you're at the end of the school year.
After this week... It's the last week with kids, and then I have like 2 days of post planning, and I am going to hit games hard. I'm going to hit the couch hard, and then I'm going to hit the games hard. So I'm going to finish Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to finish Triangle Strategy. I really want to play some sort of old retro game. I've just kind of been getting the itch, so I'll probably pick out something.
Well, let me tell you. So
I know you've been playing tons of games because that's what you do.
I have been playing lots of games. I've been playing. I've been playing Nintendo Switch Sports. I've been playing I'm brain farting. Death Stranding. And I've been playing a lot of Death Stranding. Like when you find a game, and last Sunday on the last podcast I said that the jury was still out on whether I like Death Stranding or not. And I didn't want to give it away a minute ago when you started talking about it being the premier walking simulator.
And I'm not really hating on it. I don't know anything about it. That's just what I heard about it. And I think it's a really funny reputation.
Yeah. But dude, I'm addicted hard.
Are you?
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not even sure it's going to go down as being one of my favorite games or anything. But the thing that I keep coming back to is that it is so different than any game I've ever played. And it just is so refreshing to play something that's just not like something else. It's just different. And I like that it's something new. It's a new experience. And because of that, it just feels really fun to play. And I am like super addicted to it. It's one of those games that once I start playing it, like every morning I've been waking up and playing it, and it's hard for me to peel myself away from it. I want to come back to it later in the day, and I could seriously just sit there and play it for hours and hours and hours.
I love it when you find a game like that where you're like thinking about it throughout the day. That's the best. That's how it used to always be when I was a kid.
Right. Yeah.
It's harder to get that feeling now.
It's much harder, and it's one that I haven't had in probably since, it's been a while. I can think of games that have done that to me, but this is probably the first one I've played this year that really has made me just like feel like I'm addicted to it. And it really is just because it's so unique.
Yeah.
And it is in lots of ways a walking simulator, but it's obviously so much more than that.
Of course it is. Nick loves it.
Yeah, I know. I've been talking to Nick a lot about it. Me and him have just been gushing through text about it. But dude, it's so good. And I'm going to tell you, I haven't finished it yet, but I do think that I could. It's very polarizing. I think that the game will be polarizing. There will be like half people who love it, and then half the people who hate it. And I don't think there's going to be much in between. But I do think that it's something that this summer you should try to get into just to see, because I think that you will
own
also.
it, right?
I own it. Yeah, I can just lend you the disc.
Perfect.
I think that you will be just like I am. You will be. It's very refreshing to play something different. It just is. But
that's
anyway,
interesting.
Yeah.
And I do love me some Norman Reedus.
Yeah. Now, also, additionally, on top of that, I have played some of that new Evil Dead, the game. I've been playing that, but I haven't played much of it. I'm going to play a little bit of it today.
Yeah.
It's a multiplayer game. It's kind of like in that genre. Well, it's one of those games where one of you four people play as survivors. One person plays, I think, a demon. I don't know. And then you have the survivors are trying to perform this ritual to kill the demon. The demon's trying to stop them. It's one of those things.
Okay.
And what I've played of it so far has been a little confusing. I haven't been able to figure out how to really figure out exactly what I'm doing. I did play the tutorial. The tutorial made it seem straightforward, and then I got into the actual game playing with people, and it just
You need to get on YouTube, bro.
well, I did.
Okay.
I've watched some stuff, and I think next time I go into it, I think it'll be better. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
Very cool.
It's a lot of Death Stranding, primarily. But it's been a good one. I think that I'm interested to see again. Now it could be, I've played games like this before where I get really into it and then the end lets me down. But so far I've surprised, because I wasn't even optimistic. I was just interested because I had heard so many things about the game, so many mixed feelings, people hating it, some people loving it, and I was like, I just had to find out for myself what I thought about it.
Well, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. But that really is kind of it for us. So
I think so.
I think we're kind of done, guys. So until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.